longer you fight in mixed martial arts or boxing, whatever it may be, you're eventually going to lose.
What was the case with Jon Jones?
Well, he did lose. He lost Matt Hamill. Yeah,
No.
Yeah, he fucking lost. He broke the rules. I'm going to go ahead and go with Toretto. Whether you win by second or 5 miles, winning is winning. That's what goes in my mind, right? Like, has Jon Jones ever got, finished or whatnot? No, he has not, right? But he did get disqualified, which led to a loss. And so he has lost before. But, let me think. No, I mean, he's got a loss.
Rogan doesn't shy away from his admiration for Mighty Mouse, and even called him the ucking man. Johnson had just reclaimed the one championship title after a rematch victory. But Rogan dropped a bombshell in the conversation when he admitted that Rogan didn't deny Johnson's skill. He acknowledged Johnson's incredible reign as the flyweight champion with a record-breaking 13 consecutive flyweight wins. But the real issue Rogan suggested was size. Mighty Mouse was less recognized because he was small, Rogan said, drawing a sharp contrast between the towering Jon Jones and the diminutive Johnson. While Johnson dominated his division, including holding the record for the most UFC title defenses until Jon Jones surpassed him in 2024, he was always overshadowed by the giants in the sport. Heavyweight fights sell because they involve the big guys, the athletes who are larger than life and command a larger than life fan base. Johnson's size was always going to be a hindrance in the eyes of the mainstream fan base, no matter how good he was. Yet, despite all that, Johnson wasn't seen as a star on the same level as Jon Jones. Johnson's UFC exit in 2018, which saw him move to one championship for better pay, only highlighted the financial disparity and lack of recognition he faced in the UFC. Despite being arguably the best fighter in the promotion, his marketability was limited due to his size. Rogan isn't the only one who has noticed this. The size disparity between Jon Jones and Demetrious Johnson is at the heart of their differing legacies. Jones, at 6'4" and with an intimidating frame, has become a household name. He's fought and defeated the biggest names in MMA, including Daniel Cormier and Alexander Gustafsson.
God, you fucking suck. I wish they would let me next door so I can spit in your fucking face.
You know I would absolutely kill you if you ever did something like that,
You
right?
could never.
Meanwhile, Johnson's reign was confined to a smaller weight class, a weight class that, while thrilling and competitive, never had the same media buzz. UFC fans would often focus more on the light heavyweight and heavyweight divisions. The narrative of MMA, for better or worse, has always revolved around size, and that's something Johnson never had in his favor. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Demetrious Johnson's size played a major role in his UFC legacy? Was he underappreciated? And where does Jon Jones rank among the all-time greats? Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of MMA.
Don is a concern. They don't know what to do with me if I'm not champion. And if Tom beats me and he doesn't give me a rematch, or they won't guarantee me a rematch, what do they plan to do with me? I gained an understanding to the inside of Jon. If that in fact is accurate information, that Jon is worried about an immediate rematch and doesn't believe he's going to get it, can look at the board and see that he's 36 and on his way out, and this guy is 20-something on his way up. And he even questions why they left the belt with him, to the point that he's saying, if they knew what to do with me not as champion, they'd have already done it. That's very objective. So is it as simple as guaranteeing Jon a rematch? Very interesting point.
Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. The fight we've all been waiting for is on the horizon, but there's something standing in the way Jon Jones's major concerns. What's going on? Why has Jon Jones been so hesitant to face Aspinall? And could we be witnessing a serious shift in the heavyweight landscape? Let's break it all down.
Most of the guys who are doing the absolute worst are not in a position that they could say publicly, I have a second job. I'm borrowing money from my parents.
Right.
I know so many fighters that are living in the Jackson's MMA gym because they can't afford to have their own apartment. And they're UFC fighters.
And they just fought.
So this is sad. And if I have to have a bad relationship with Dana, sit out for 2 years, 3 years, to bring light to what's happening, then these are the things that people remember you for more than winning belts.
It's a real thing. The mental health aspect is a real thing. I just had a situation, honestly, about 2 days ago.
I was talking to my wife, and I was just telling her, my fiance, I was just telling her all the different things that were on my heart, whether it's expectation or standing up in front of the monster audience today and talking in front of that rally. Little things, just all these little things start to add up on you. They seem minuscule, but they can really become overwhelming at a certain point. And I was telling my wife that I was embarrassed because I have a lot of good problems to have, but I have a lot of shit on my plate. It just started pouring out to her all the little tiny things that was on my heart and unfinished projects and all these little things. And bro, within like 2 or 3 minutes, she was able to completely change my outlook on everything that was happening in my life.
So here's the deal, folks. Jon Jones, the undefeated UFC heavyweight champion, is reportedly extremely concerned about one thing when it comes to his potential fight with Tom Aspinall. Despite fans around the world clamoring for this showdown, Jones has been surprisingly unenthusiastic about this matchup. Why is that? What could possibly have him worried? Some say it's money. Colby Covington has suggested that Jones is asking for too much cash to fight Aspinall, and that's why the fight isn't being booked. But there's more to this story. UFC interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall has his own theory. He believes Jon Jones is concerned about his skill set. Could Aspinall's rise to the top be something Jones is not ready for?
You said you could take me down 100 times out of 100 times, right? And that's what you're going to do, right? I challenge you to get me down 5 times in that 5-round fight. You won't be able to do that. There is nothing you can do to stop me from coming at you round after round with the most malicious techniques I know. You will lose this fight, Daniel Cormier. I want you to believe it. Every ounce of training you put in leading up to this fight will be a waste of your life.
But hold on, Chael Sonnen, the trash-talking MMA legend, thinks he's cracked the code. He believes the issues with this fight go beyond money or skill concerns. In a recent video, Sonnen suggested that Jon Jones's real concern is about the future, the aftermath of a potential loss to Aspinall. According to Chael, Jon Jones has a major concern. He doesn't know what will happen if he loses to Tom Aspinall. Will he get an immediate rematch? Or will the UFC move on without him? Sonnen points out that Jones is 36 and his time in the sport may be limited. If Aspinall beats him, will Jones be left to fade into obscurity? Or will the UFC guarantee him a rematch to keep him relevant?
Chael Sonnen makes bold claims. Chael Sonnen has shared his thoughts on a potential title fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, and he's not holding back. Sonnen believes Jones could be trolling and having some fun with the hype, possibly downplaying Aspinall's threat. Do you think Jones is underestimating Aspinall, or is it all just hype?
No, I am confident enough to tell you that that fight is done, though. That fight is agreed all the way down to the day. International Fight Week would make perfect sense. I personally, just in my
Only
heart,
9
I
weeks.
always thought they were going to go back to New York.
Jones said he needs 4 months. Now you're going to do it
I'm telling you, this Jon Jones business, Jones will say a lot of things to the media. When he gets that phone call, here's the guy you're fighting. Do you understand? Yes. And that is what he will say. All the other reports are not true. Jon has come out. He's been a troll. He's had some fun. He even tried to negotiate in the media. Privately, he takes that phone call. It's yes or anything else that comes out of his mouth. Any answer that's not yes is not yes. But that did not happen. That is a false report. Jon Jones has not ducked this fight. I wish he did. I'd love to bury him. He didn't. He did not duck Tom Aspinall.
Now, let's talk about something even more intriguing. Jon Jones's comments on Tom Aspinall before this feud started. Back in the day, before any animosity kicked in, Jones wasn't exactly singing Aspinall's praises. In fact, he was dismissive of Aspinall's talents, calling him just another rising star with little to prove. But now, things seem different. Jones's dismissive tone has shifted. Could it be that Jones is starting to realize that Aspinall is a real threat? Is this the moment when Jones finally sees the rising heavyweight as a danger to his legacy? It's hard to ignore the fact that Jones might now be questioning his previous assessments of Aspinall.
He changes nothing if I beat him. Beating Tom is just like beating Cyril Gain. Has a whole country behind him. He's hot right now. What happens to me after I beat him? Nothing changes for me. I'm not ducking Tom Aspinall. The Tom narrative came out of nowhere. He won a belt and now suddenly I'm ducking him. I've never had negotiations to even fight him, if this makes sense. If I'm being completely honest, I feel like Tom's been such an that I don't want to do business with him. And obviously, you don't get this far in a career being affected by fans or whatnot. But he's just an asshole. With he's 30, so he's from this influencer generation where you hop online and the T-shirt sales and all that. I'm past that type of stuff. I'm like, bro, if you had a little bit more respect, then maybe we could have worked something out, But I just don't even want to do business with him. Like he just played his cards wrong with me personally. I'm 3 years from being a 40-year-old grown man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the press conference, going through the whole shebang with him. I'd rather not do. Pajeda on the other side, respectful, cool, barely says much. It's like I'll do business with you. I would risk it all with a human being like you. You actually have the accolades to back up your shit. This other guy is just a big mouth who's hot today.
Now, we've got to address the elephant in the room. Jon Jones is stalling. He's been active in the talks about facing Aspinall, but he hasn't exactly jumped at the opportunity to sign on the dotted line. What's going on? Is Jones stalling out of fear, or is he just waiting for the perfect moment to face? Aspinall fans are growing impatient. Jones has fought once in the last year defending his title against Stipe Miocic, but since then we've heard nothing about his next move. Meanwhile, Aspinall has been tearing through opponents staying active and waiting for his shot. The longer Jones waits, the more questions arise. Is Jones afraid of the challenge Aspinall brings to the table?
What's the question?
Do you want to see the winner fight Tom?
The winner should absolutely fight Tom.
So, what's next for Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall? Is this fight finally going to happen, or is Jon Jones stalling? Fans are waiting, the pressure is mounting, and the stakes are higher than ever. If Jones faces Aspinall, will he be able to hold on to his title, or will Aspinall take over as the new UFC heavyweight champion? Fight fans, we want to hear from you. Do you think Jon Jones is afraid of Tom Aspinall? Is he stalling out of fear of losing his legacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get this debate going. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the action. The fight we've all been waiting for is coming, and when it does, it will be huge. Tom Aspinall has just set an unfortunate record in UFC history, but the real issue here, UFC President Dana White and Jon Jones seem to be playing a dangerous waiting game. What's the real reason behind the delays? Is this UFC's biggest missed opportunity, or just a case of too much waiting? Let's break it down. Let's get into the numbers first. As of April 29th, 2025, Tom Aspinall has now become the longest reigning interim champion in UFC history, holding onto the title for an incredible 535 days. 535 days? And guess what? He still hasn't fought for the unified title. What's going on? He won the interim heavyweight belt back in November 2023 when he knocked out Sergey Pavlovich. He defended it in Manchester by dismantling Curtis Blades in just 60 seconds. Since then, nothing. Not a single fight and no word on when he'll get his shot at UFC champion Jon Jones. Now, here's where it gets even more infuriating. Tom Aspinall has been sitting on the sidelines, waiting for his chance to face Jon Jones for the title, but Jones is playing a game of his own. Despite being the UFC heavyweight champion since March 2023, when he submitted Cyril Gain, Jones hasn't fought Aspinall yet. Why? Because he's been off chasing another legendary fight with Stipe Miocic, who, let's face it, is pretty much on his way out. Jones beat Miocic in November 2023 at UFC 309, in a fight that many are questioning the relevance of. So why hasn't the fight between Jones and Aspinall happened yet? Why the holdup? Aspinall and his camp are getting increasingly frustrated with the lack of movement. Aspinall's dad, Andy, didn't hold back when he said, "It's stupid. He's asking the real question. Why is Jon Jones sitting around and not giving a clear answer? The UFC is telling Aspinall to stay tuned. But it's now been months of waiting. Tom has been training hard, twice a day, staying in elite athlete shape without even knowing when he'll get the competition he's been waiting for. Imagine that, all the work, no payoff. And honestly, this delay is starting to raise some serious questions. UFC fans are calling it a disaster if the promotion fails to make Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall happen. Michael Bisping, a UFC legend, even went as far as saying that Jones needs to hurry up or retire. That's some serious heat coming from one of the most respected figures in MMA. So what's next? If Jon Jones continues to drag his feet and doesn't return to the octagon, Aspinall might be forced into facing another top contender, perhaps Cyril Gane, for the chance at the unified heavyweight title. But let's be real, Jones versus Aspinall is the fight everyone wants. It's the fight that should happen, and if it doesn't, UFC could be staring at a massive failure on their hands. Can we just get a clear answer here, Jones? Do you want to fight or not? And UFC, why are you letting this linger? Fans are getting impatient, and it's clear that Tom Aspinall's title dreams are hanging by a thread as long as Jon Jones continues to sit idle. If Jones doesn't hurry up, it'll be a massive blow to the UFC's heavyweight division. So, fight fans, what do you think is the UFC dropping the ball on the biggest heavyweight fight of all time? Should Tom Aspinall have gotten his shot already, or is Jon Jones just playing a strategic waiting game? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's get this debate going. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more UFC updates and deep dives into all the major fights. Until next time, stay tuned, fight fans. UFC legend Daniel Cormier has dropped some bold insights about Kamaru Usman, and things are heating up before UFC Atlanta. Usman is on the verge of a massive crossroads in his career, and DC's comments are making waves. Will Usman reclaim his throne? Or is the new generation of fighters too much for him? Daniel Cormier. Yes, the UFC Hall of Famer has come out with some surprising comments about Kamaru Usman's future. Cormier, known for his sharp opinions, has given Usman an unexpected lifeline. Let's rewind to Usman's last fight at middleweight, where he lost to Khamzat Chimaev, and yet DC believes this loss could have actually elevated Usman's status. Can you believe that DC said Usman almost elevated himself by losing to Chimaev? Now, think about that for a second. Chimaev was thought to be untouchable at the time, and despite Usman taking the fight on short notice, he stood his ground and fought well against one of the most dominant fighters in the UFC. Cormier pointed out how Chimaev hasn't been able to finish or overpower Usman in the same way he has with other top names like Robert Whittaker. So, in DC's eyes, Usman didn't just lose, he showed the world that he still has something left. But here's where the plot thickens. Usman is back in action at UFC Atlanta, but this time, he's facing a much younger and hungry prospect in Joaquin Buckley. Usman, at 37 years old, is fighting for his relevance. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, and a win here could be his last shot at a title run. Cormier has made it clear this is Usman's last chance to stay relevant in the welterweight division. Now, Cormier wasn't sugarcoating it. He said, a win over Buckley could propel Usman right back into the title picture. Imagine Usman calling out the likes of Bilal Muhammad, Jack Della Maddalena, and even the injured Shavkat Rakhmonov. A victory here could give him the chance to claw his way back into the mix. But a loss? It could push him even further away from a title shot, and that brings us to Usman's opponent, Joaquin Buckley. Buckley, ranked number 6 in the division, is not a fighter Usman can afford to take lightly. This guy is a high-level striker known for his knockout power and incredible takedown defense. He's the real deal. In fact, he won the Knockout of the Year award back in 2020 after knocking out his opponent with a vicious head kick. Buckley has all the tools to end Usman's run right here. Right now, Usman's strength has always been his wrestling. But against someone like Buckley, who has such incredible Tom Aspinall, the interim heavyweight champion, has been waiting for a shot at the undisputed title against Jon Jones. But instead of stepping into the cage, Aspinall's time is being spent waiting frustrated, and increasingly vocal about his situation. And the man who's been by his side through it all, his father Andy, isn't holding back either. It's been nearly a year since Tom Aspinall's last fight, and the clock keeps ticking. But what's even more frustrating is that Aspinall is ready to go. A fighter who typically spends very little time in the cage, with his last 3 fights each lasting no more than a minute, is now sitting on the sidelines. His career stalled. In fact, Aspinall has the least amount of cage time for any UFC champion, clocking in at just over 2 minutes. His fights are short, explosive, and full of promise. Yet even after a dominant victory, the biggest fight of his career against Jon Jones remains elusive. It's not just Tom feeling the frustration. His father and coach, Andy Aspinall, is in the trenches too. Training an elite athlete without the promise of a fight is no easy task. For Andy, it's not just about coaching, it's about keeping the lights on. As Tom's head coach, Andy's income